Hi, welcome back to the Mommentators. We've got a great conversation today. The question is, should religion be taught in schools? What do you think? Has anyone ever had a thought or opinion about this subject? I mean, it's so
no, I definitely
so neutral.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so neutral. We've never thought about this at all. Well, okay, so everybody knows I come from Utah. So I think everybody already thinks they know what I'm going to say about this, but I actually don't think religion should be taught in school unless.
If you say that you're from Utah,
oh, I'm Mormon. I'm Mormon.
Say that you're Mormon,
yeah.
or is you just assume?
I think automatically assumed, right?
There are.
Okay. There's like 3.
There's like
Joe and Bob. No.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, it's a great community, and we're all very. I think sometimes it's difficult for someone who is not of the religion to live there because it is very close-knit and everything is about this religious togetherness and there's a sense of purpose and everything. But
the public schools don't.
The public schools do not teach religion. They offer there's a seminary building that's not on school property but within walking distance, and when you're in high school you can choose as an elective to take one of your classes there. You have to walk there and walk back, but it is offered.
And that's a Mormon seminary that's teaching Mormon values.
Yeah, Bible,
teachings,
Book of Mormon, all those kinds of things. It's all taught there. Again, totally
the music from the musical Book of Mormon there as well.
Yeah, they're going to do one right away. It's right up our alley. But the young men and women who are not in Utah but are members of this faith, they are offered that same program early morning. So they can go at 6 o'clock in the morning to their local church and they are offered that same thing. So I think there's a way
are similar.
Correct, where you can have your religion and not just Sunday religion, but it's available.
I believe that religion is a private family matter. I believe that no one should tell you what religion you should be practicing. I believe that everyone has the right to practice whatever religion is right for them, and it shouldn't be taught in the schools because it breeds hostility, it breeds hate, it breeds resentment, and you know, I'm from a Jewish background, and because there have been so many problems in historically where it's been enforced upon Jewish people to be forced into another religion or else they get killed. I mean, I would never want my kids to feel that other religions are being pushed on them. So that's the nice thing about America.
Yeah, exactly.
We came to this country, it's a separation of church and state. That's the way it should be, so that you don't feel like...
And I agree with that completely. But I think it's also, like, the question has potential to be very broad, right? Like, should religion be taught in school? I think historically in this country the question was, should Christianity be taught in school? And I disagree with that. I don't think that any one religion should be taught in school. I also think that religion is something intensely personal. I actually would go so far as to say that I don't think necessarily parents should assume that their children need to have the same religion as them. Like, I feel, I'm not a religious person, but I do have a spiritual practice and strong spiritual beliefs, and I want to teach my sons what those are, but I don't expect them to have the same. I mean, I'm going to teach them about how I see the world and what I think, you know, spiritually is significant in the world, but I also think it's my responsibility to teach them that there are a lot of religions and a lot of ways of seeing these spiritual issues.
Would you want the school to teach them that there are a lot of religions? Like, would you want the school? No.
No, but I do think that if there were something in school that were about, I think it would be interesting to have something in schools that were about religion and the effects of religion and religious conflict on history in the world, but not teaching the specific tenets of a religion. We haven't heard from you. We haven't heard from you.
Well, I want to clarify, this country was founded on Christian ideals. And I think that the argument of Christianity being taught in schools comes from that root. Because originally that concept was so prolific in the Constitution. A lot of our forefathers were Christians and believers.
Well, initially that's why the Pilgrims came here, for freedom of religion.
And that argument. I do think that it is the parent's job. Education comes first at home. And I do believe that it's the parent's job to introduce children to their faith. But I also believe that our society has moved so far away from faith in general and living with some sort of spiritual consciousness, because we're all about liberality now and doing what satisfies the flesh and our desires and our emotions, that we're so far removed from that root that if it were reintroduced, there would have to be a huge paradigm shift, because we're now in a day and age where anything that lifts or speaks about faith or belief in God is immediately attacked. And we're all wondering why the morale of our country as a whole is at an all-time low, and why marriages aren't working out, and why 11-year-olds are committing suicide, and why so many things are happening in this country. I think there's a direct correlation between a lack of prayer in homes as well as in schools, and people searching for purpose and destiny. And I think
but you don't necessarily, but do you believe that prayer of any kind is enriching to your life and enriching to your morals? Or are you saying that you think that all people should pray a particular way?
You're asking me?
Yes.
Yes.
And so when I say this, it will forever be out there. But I personally believe that, number one, Christianity is not a religion. It's not laws, it's a lifestyle. And it's having a personal relationship with God. I think that it gets very problematic when man tries to set up laws and becomes rigid to the point where there's no love in it and that people's lives are not transformed. I think real transformation happens when people authentically operate out of something with the intent to change someone else's life or to make someone else's life better. In my opinion, when I'm in the classroom, I think that children who come from an atmosphere where they've been prayed for or where they are introduced to some sort of faith or understanding of a creator, their being, their person, their behavior is totally different from children, most times, in my opinion, who have not been introduced to some sort of faith, who have not been prayed for consistently, and who have not been in an atmosphere where the supernatural is introduced.
Why can't you teach kids gratitude without the dogma of the religion?
That's what I just said. I said that religion is man's laws, but gratitude is rooted in love.
Right, I'm not Christian. Yeah. And to me, we practice gratitude and love, and we can meditate at home, and we can, but the problem is when you bring in, specific religion saying, well, this is the only religion that's going to get you to a higher, spiritual.
I don't think anywhere in America you can do that anymore.
No, you can't.
Anyone who wants that type of religion can go to a private school and have that. But here's my question. What about these holidays that are just like Easter and Christmas and Hanukkah and Passover and all these holidays? Do we just not even mention them at all because they have some sort of religious connotation? Can we no longer do an Easter egg hunt, or
that's not. I don't think that's religious, an Easter egg hunt. I think that's
it is religious. Down in Florida, they actually banned it, saying we're not going to have the Easter bunny come. We're going to have the spring bunny come.
And then to agree with her, I think that there's a flip side to everything. I think we're so at a place in this society where we want to respect the rights of everyone that we're
losing our individuality.
Yeah, we're losing that.
Well, it's important to do it at home. As you said, you have to start at home. I mean, we give
I'm
our
trying
kids,
to be politically correct.
No,
but I really want to correct it.
We're coming from all different faiths here, actually, right? We're all coming from different faiths. But the common denominator is a love for our family and our children and wanting them to have some sort of connection to a higher power. Right?
But we're also not, does any one of us feel that there ought to be a component of that in school, in public schools?
The only thing that I'm still curious about is like holiday religion things.
Okay.
Can we still, can we bring that in?
Is that I grew up in a town where, or in school where I really was the only kid not celebrating Christmas, and it felt pretty bad that that Christmas was thrown around me like, you have to, what do you mean Santa doesn't come to your house? Oh, too bad for you. And at home,
to me is a problem of religious tolerance, and I think that's something that's really lacking in our culture.
How can we tolerate religion if we're not teaching our children about religions? Do you know what I mean?
Well, yeah, that's a difficult balance to strike.
I teach my kids. We sit in the car and we have conversations. My daughter says to me, "Who is Jesus?" And I explain to her what I know historically to be who Jesus was, and I explain why Jews do not believe that Jesus is God. And I explain to her and I say, no one's wrong. Everyone is entitled to their beliefs. everyone's entitled to believe what they believe, and that is the faith, and you have to respect every single person because everyone's right.
I think it's
to your
important
point,
to
though,
teach.
about what America was founded on, though, to me, that's like the ultimate democratic way of approaching it. And although the Pilgrims who came here to start this country were Christian, they were looking for freedom of religion.
They
and the
didn't wanna
freedom of
practice
religion,
the way they were practicing
exactly.
English.
And the freedom of religion isn't just, you know, to have a country of Christians, but to
Right.
have a country that respects freedoms of religion, freedoms of speech, freedom of,
so that you can practice
what I mean?
any
And I
religion you'd
think
like.
that
But what's happening now in our
that's-
society is that we're moving so far to the left that now, you know, Christians are being attacked for saying what they believe in. Right now, they're in the current trend right now, people are coming out that they're gay. And people are defending that. The president, all these different people are defending homosexuality. But the moment a person comes out and says that they're a Christian or they stand up strong for their faith, I notice there's immediate warfare or an attack on that person's persona or character, or there's this big backlash. And I think that
That's
people...
when faith is being used, though, to say that people aren't in control of their own bodies. And that's where you have to understand that, like, they're not attacking Christians for being Christian. They're attacking
but
Christians
sometimes
for
they
not being tolerant.
Or they're
Sometimes they
attacking,
are. I
or
come
they're
from a
attacking
place-
the stigma too.
I come
because
from a place where we meet twice a year, and it's just, you know, anybody's welcome to come, but there are people who are burning our religious clothing and yelling at us and throwing things. Nobody talks about that because, oh, the Mormons are, that's fine, we can
And that's a
do
good
whatever.
point.
You know what I mean?
They're not talking about...
terrible.
It
And
is
they're-
terrible, but no one wants to talk about that because those darn Mormons, you know. It's
Yeah.
just an interesting stigma. If we don't teach our children about religion, how can we teach them religious tolerance? Do you know what I mean? If it's not being taught at all, how do we teach them to
Because there is a
tolerate?
reverse effect. If there's an absence of it, then, like you say, how can it be addressed? How can you fluidly operate out of something? But I want to answer your question, Kelly. You asked me specifically, and this is the topic, do I believe that there should be prayer in schools? I think that those who have chosen to live a certain lifestyle should put their children in those types of school. But as a whole, just to put it out there as an ideal, I personally believe that there should be prayer in schools. Now, before you all jump on me, I'm going to tell you why. I think that children today, and I'm not saying prayer to necessarily what I think, the way I think it should be, but I think there should be an open space for children or people in general to open up to their Creator. Today in this country, prayer and acknowledgement of God is not welcome, and that's when it's dangerous. I think that children today, because I see it in classrooms, we see it in the news, we see it everywhere, children today are hurting, irregardless of where they come from. They're seeking and they're searching, and I think that school, since we teach everything else in school, why not give them the opportunity, since they're there most of the day, to worship what they've been taught or to learn still. And I do personally believe that there were less behavioral problems in the past in schools than there are today. Teachers today are afraid to have classroom management tools because you can't reprimand the kids. There's a law, there's a right, there's a liberal governor for everything that you can't even properly teach. Students now know the rules. You can't touch me, you can't say anything to me. I think that there's a problem when there is no authority. I think there's a problem when children who are lost are not given the opportunity to tap into their spirit. We teach them the secular stuff. We teach them go to college, get a degree, get a career, marry, live this perfect life. But the last thing that most people are willing to teach their children about are that faith. And why they're...
I don't know if that's necessarily true because...
Some people don't even believe, though, in that. Like, I can speak, you know, not for myself personally, but for people who are very close to me, who do not believe that there is a God that takes care, and they live beautiful, wonderful lives because they believe in people, and they believe in a moral code that is built in within the fabric of our genetics.
I don't know too many atheists.
We're gonna have to
I don't
end
know too
on
many
atheism,
atheists. I don't know a lot of
atheism, you
happy
guys.
atheists, and I don't
Oh,
know
I
a lot.
do.
You know a lot of happy atheists.
Okay,
I
so
haven't met a
we
lot of
have
happy
to stop,
atheists.
although we can talk about this
Forever, apparently.
and never run out of
Yeah.
passion on the topic.
Yeah.
But atheists and other religious people, please feel free to chime in the comments. We'd love to know what you think.
That's how we learn.
That's how we learn.
Feedback.
Let's keep the conversation going. And come back to the Mommentators. We've got lots of juicy topics. And subscribe so you don't miss an episode. And we'll see you again soon. Bye.